Hey, everybody. Once again, Jim Deedlow, AM 1230 WJOB, just in Jed's Radio Days. How's that sound? This time it's a Friday, and we just finished a rather lengthy 4-hour radio show. Going backwards, we had Linda Watson. She was in on the show, and we talked about her book, Necessary Measures, in which one of the gals is being abused by her husband. And she gets together with her 3 girlfriends, and they put a plot up together to kill the guy. Here's what Linda had to say.
I'm trying to bring awareness when it comes to domestic abuse and making the right decision once you see it. And unfortunately, because of the decision that Karen made in the story, it created a lot of problems. So I did put a lot of twist in the story to make women aware that, one, when you see the signs of abuse, you need to run. You need to get out of that situation immediately, because if not, it can create problems or bring you to the point where you want, there's only one way out, and that is murder, or being in a situation like I had been. So that's what forced me. I said I have to, either I'm going to die in this situation or I'm going to die fighting to get out of this situation. And at that point, that's when I decided to fight to get out, but basically for my children.
Linda Watson is from Munster. She's written a book, and she is a guest here of Lisa Wine, Executive Director of Haven House. Lisa?
But Linda, you did call the police one time, and at the time you were living in a different state.
Yes.
And if maybe you can share what happened when you called the department in the other state.
Sure, I can. When I did call an officer, and a couple officers came in, and I told them what had happened. Because after I left the marriage, he actually stalked me for 3 years. So he would be on the bus. I get on the bus, he would be behind me. I don't know where he came from. He would sit behind me. He would not say nothing. I would go to my job. He would be standing there in my job. And then he would, break glasses, come to my house. So when I did call the officer and they came out and I told them what had happened and I feared for my life, they told me, ma'am, it must have been something you did to him. So, and you hear that a lot. You really, when you call an officer and they tell you that, then, who do you have?
Say that again, what he said?
He said it was something that you did to make him be like this.
So what were you thinking at that point?
I'm like, why did I even call?
Free trade agreement.
And then we go backwards a little bit on it. We had Congressman Pete Visclosky called in today. We talked about a number of things. One of those was about some of the protesting that's going on in Washington and New York, Chicago, even in Valparaiso this weekend. Here's the congressman.
I wouldn't say it's class warfare. I wouldn't suggest that there's an attitude in the first district of us against the very wealthy. The average person living in Northwest Indiana is living in a working-class neighborhood. They've worked hard all their lives. Their parents worked hard to give them what they've got. They just want to make sure they're engaged in a fair system. And I do believe, given the protracted nature of this unemployment, they don't feel enough has been done to protect their employment opportunities, and that some in this country, some of those companies I have recommended, have had an unfair advantage. They're looking more for just equality, and then betting that their hard work and their talents is going to push them ahead. They're not looking for anything other than that good chance.
Congressman, last question. This is more of a personal question. You've been doing this for a number of years, since the mid-'80s, and folks in the media and even here my callers and so forth, we talk to a polarization in Washington, and you can see it, and it's a little bit different than maybe when you started along, where you might be able to walk across the aisle a little bit easier and get some things done. Personally, how is it, this at least perceived polarization, is that taking any kind of toll on you?
It hasn't taken a toll on me, but I must tell you my frustration with the inability to address the jobs issue and the budget issue is very, very high and has not been greater in all of the years I've been in Congress. I would admit to that. But what people aren't seeing, because the national media, you report the news on WJOB, the national media is engaged in entertainment from my perspective. My ranking member, and I've used him as an example before, we get along with each other. We do get some things done at the Department of Energy and water projects. But because we don't fight every day, you don't see it.
No. I mean, now.
And also today we had, of course, Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott in here. Surprisingly, the show was reasonably void of controversy, but here's a little clip from the mayor.
On Wednesday, and
451-1100 is at Joyce on line 6. Joyce, thanks for holding.
Hi, Joyce.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for calling, Joyce.
Hi. I'm an 81-year-old woman that lives in Hammond all her life,
Okay.
and I'm somewhat handicapped.
Okay.
And I have a sidewalk that is sinking out in front. It's out in the parkway.
Why don't you give me a...
I don't want you to give that out over the air, okay?
Okay.
But describe the sidewalk without giving your address.
Well, it's dipping down something terrible, and it makes it very difficult to walk to get into the car in the street. And I wrote you a letter about it, and I also called the engineering department, but
That's
they
good.
never got back to me.
Well, you know what? I mean, we get hundreds of complaints, and what we do is we file them, and, usually they try to get back. But is there... I want to get your address so that I can follow this up with engineering, and so I'm going to ask Jim if he can take a quick break so I could get that info from you, Joyce, if that's all right.
All right.
All right, Joyce, hang on. Also on the show today, my wife comes in, Alexis Vasquez-Dilo. You may not know that about Jed's radio days. Is actually Alexis's radio days because she's the majority owner here. We're one of the few minority and female-owned radio stations in America. But she joins me on Tuesday and Fridays. Of course, she is essentially the boss. But Gabby Hernandez, you'll hear right now, AM 1230 JOB.
She's not quite like Debbie Wargo with Bon Jovi.
I saw a guy on Indianapolis Boulevard the other day in front of Burger King there in Highland, Cherville over there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a guy in a real nice car, like a Cadillac of some sort, with a BNJOVI, Bon Jovi.
God, real guys don't like Bon Jovi.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
That Bon Jovi's like who you go see to make your girlfriend happy.
Oh, gosh. When we first brought this up about the protesters, you obviously didn't know what we were talking about, right? And you talked to some folks at Highland High School, and the first 5 you talked to, what did they say again?
They had no idea either.
Now, that was, a week and a half ago?
Yes.
Okay, is there any more awareness of what's going on at the high school level, would you say?
Well, even from what I've been talking about with my friends, there's more awareness of it. I think as the weeks go on, it's getting more and more popular, which is a good thing.
Would you consider? Do you think any of these teens are considering going down to any of the protests?
I am. I think I want to go down this weekend because.
So you're thinking of going up tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow or Sunday.
Tomorrow or Sunday. What do you want to find out?
I don't know. I'm hoping to talk to people and. We'll see if my mom lets me because I just looked on the website and they say it's safe. I don't want her to think like,
Go in the middle of the day.
Take the train.
Take more, don't go by yourself. Go in a group. And then if you do get to go, because I'll leave that up to your mother, she has to feel comfortable with it. I'm looking forward to you coming back on Monday and letting us know, what you experienced and what your observation was and what you took from it.
Once again, we're in a radio day. You don't know what's going to happen, but now one of our sponsors, Greco Nut and Candy, has brought us in a full plate of, yogurt-covered pretzels, the granola, looks like chocolate-covered almonds. I don't know what these chocolate graham cracker thingies are, and all look good. Now, you saw Buster, the radio dog. He's actually swung around, and good thing he's away from this because he'll hop up here. He's actually sniffing the backside of our cameraman. But, Debbie, we get stuff like this all the time, and it's why it's just don't you dare give that, look at that. I have fed this dog out of a bowl for so many years, and now that I bring him to the station, he's turned into the beggar dog. Anyways, Greco Nut and Candy, this is why it's so difficult in a radio station to keep your svelte figure. It's another part of a radio day. You know how that goes. I'm Jim Titlo once again. Now, one of our sponsors, Richardson Suzuki, has brought a Kizashi. Kizashi?
Kizashi.
Kizashi. Why? What's so cool about a Kizashi?
They've been out only since 2010. Sporty, fully loaded, under $30,000.
Cool. So I'm going to drive a Kizashi around for a while and just see how it looks, and so I could talk about it on the air and so forth. But actually, our general manager has cobs on this thing for when?
Just for Wednesday. My heater broke in my van, so I'm going to use it while it's in the service, getting serviced.
Okay, so we're going to share a Kizashi for a couple days. I'm going to drive it around, and we'll see what happens. And then, so I'm going to drive it, and then Debbie Wargo's going to drive it. And then if you come over here, then Bob Dylan's going to drive it for a couple days. What do you think, Bob? What do you think about your Kizashi? All right, guys, that's how it works with radio days. AM 1230 WJOB. All right?
So if you want to die.
Okay, it's pressing. Yeah, I heard it. All right, come on over. Come on with me. I'm going to come in here and sit down.
Once you get inside,
Once I get in here.
get comfortable.
Yeah.
You should be right away. Put your foot on the brake.
Sounds
And
like
just hit the
T-Rex
start
got
ignition
a hold
button.
of Region Rick. Hopefully
Nothing
Region Rick
with that.
will be
Just
okay
put
with
that in
those
your
tasty balsa wood ribs
hit the
on
button.
his body. Hey, everybody.
Where do I put the key? Oh, hold on a second. I don't put a key in?
No. Hello.
It's all
Can't
keyless.
wait to get some of that shepherd pie. Larry the K, or Larry Theck, as
There
Pat
you go.
Renwick, the chat man, has said
Navigation,
in the studio.
No!
So we got that coming up.
I can't say it, so you got the idea.
People have trouble.
All right, then we're going to go all the way to WJOB at 12:30 a.m. That was a Chicago station, so he's listening to.
Hey, happy Friday. Today's lunch special at Flat Rock Tap.
See, there it is, baby. In a Kizashi, an 87-year-old radio station. Sounds beautiful.
How about that?
All right, so how do I turn that off? Wait, just tell me. I'll figure it out.
Over at Center
Top
Lounge,
button.
it's just
Nope, the one above
tasty.
it.
You got Club 81
Right
too.
here?
If you want to have a good time, go see Leo. Uncle Leo over at Club 81 too. What a great guy. I mean, just a tremendous person. You want to hang out with him. He's got a cool costume party
Just
happening
turn it
at
on.
Club 81 too.
There you go. Beats the Sam Hill out of me. All right, man, I'm going to drive a Kizashi around for a couple days, and I'm going to sing it for you.
Even if you don't have a chance,
I'm driving a Kizashi, and you should too. AM 1230 WJOB.
because it is a tasty.
You need to behave.
Okay, get the movies.
Once again, Friday, October 14th, 2011. When
Jack,
your
she's
nephew
taking a
shows up,
picture.
you take him,
Get
and you
the
go to
movie.
eat. Take him to get a movie and to get something to eat. So that'll do it for today. Oh.
Jack? Jack, who's your favorite uncle?
Uncle Jimmy.
Aww.
That's me. All right, I'm out.